Oh, hello all. Alright, another foggy, cold, drizzly day. Matches the mood around the world. Kinda gloomy. They took a survey and found that over 2/3 of the group of people that were polled around the world said that they were pessimistic about the future, and they didn't think that humans had too much further to go. That's a huge quantity. And around the world there are people taking to the streets and changing things, trying to make things better. But in many countries, they're actually antagonizing. But that is the situation, what happens when you get climate change, and it actually starts to get to the extreme level. People start to move, you see protests in the streets, the military in the field, and food becomes scarcer and scarcer. But what happens out in the ocean? What is happening in the ocean? Well, let's go look at a study of an older study by 4 independent studiers. And what they came up with. And what they did is they wanted to find out what the real study said, because as you know, governmental studies are always doctored at the end to make everything look so much better than they really were. Well, they found that the estimates were way off from what the original study had said. By the way, this has been confirmed with new and modern studies. Here we go, with up to 90% of carbon emissions are absorbed by the oceans. Those are emissions that humans put out. The oceans also absorb natural carbon emissions. 90% of the Earth's warming is going right into the oceans. But the newest studies found that the oceans are absorbing heat 40% faster than previous estimates. So that just shows you how far these governmental changers screw up a perfectly good climate study. By 40% they changed it. They also found that expanding ocean waters will continue sea level rise. If oceans warm by 1.5 C, this will cause sea level rise of 1 foot by 2100. Well, this is quite interesting that we're now finding studies on top of studies that are finding that our government-reviewed study, peer-reviewed studies, are being doctored. About 40%? Sounds about right. Something else. What else is going to come out? So many governments, including the U.S., distort research on climate change. They remove temperature records. Anything goes back over like 1,000 years, they completely remove it. They insert or use insertions of discredited studies, such as non-peer-reviewed studies that the right wing come up with. They cannot stand, and they eliminate of the words climate change has global consequences for human health and the environment. Under the Orange Man, the EPA here in the U.S. is to delete any mention of global warming in its reports. Now, let's go to the facts. You can cover up all the bullshit you want, but the facts are that the CO2 is climbing. June 15, 2018, we saw 410.97 parts per million. June 15, 2019, we saw 412.96 parts per million. You can't cover that up, but you can ignore it. And over here, the methane. Are you going to try and tell us that this chart is incorrect as well? You know, when it all comes down to it, the thing that will destroy humanity, or human lives, and most other life on this planet, will be dishonesty. We cannot and will not ever tell the truth. Most humans seem to rely heavily on lying and disinformation. I definitely appreciate all the comments on the last videos, the ups and the downs, and especially the new subscribers, which YouTube never lets come on an environmental channel like myself. They let them come on, but then they delete them pretty quickly. But I appreciate you trying anyway. And go ahead, leave a comment. And until next time.